Ivan, we're inside a Cybertruck.
I'm Ivan.
I'm Nick.
And this is DIY Detail. Today we're going to go over the cleaning, the prep, and the application of DIY Detail interior ceramic coating. Now, the ceramic coating is a very interesting phenomenon in a Tesla. And this one has the obligatory white panels in it. And on the interior of this, we have a rather sizable touchscreen. We have the yoke. We have, of course, the dash that has this nice white line all across it. We have the doors that have a nice white line. We even have stainless steel on the inside. And all of this needs to be protected.
There may be a lot of exotic looking surfaces here if you're a detailer, and if this is your Tesla and you're just trying to get the most bang for your buck in terms of protecting this, this is so simple and so effective.
Right, and first of all, for cleaning, we're gonna make it super easy. We're using a towel dampened in our rinseless wash at 256:1. So nothing could be easier than that.
That might sound like a lot of dilution ratios, Ivan. What he means is 1 ounce of our rinseless wash in 2 gallons of water. Or it's a very, very concentrated solution. It cleans the outside of your Cybertruck. We talk about rinseless washing, so we're gonna put a link to a video about that in the description below. But it's also great for interior cleaning as well.
Right, and 4 milliliters to a liter if you're on the metric system.
Absolutely.
Now, for cleaning this Cybertruck, this one is relatively new, has very, very low mileage. We're just making sure we're dusting it more than anything else. And the easy way of doing that, again, low nap microfiber towel, and we're simply going to go over every surface, making sure, see there's a little stain there that popped up when it got wet, and we got rid of it. And then we take a dry towel and go over the same area.
Yeah, a phenomenal way to clean your interiors is just a rinseless wash dampened towel.
Yeah, and everything on your interior, like this, little touchscreen here. I have had TVs that are smaller than this.
This is pretty incredible, but what do you expect from Elon and crew?
Right.
What's also cool, Alcantara is a fancy word for microfiber. There's Alcantara in here. You can clean that with a rinseless wash dampened towel as well.
Definitely, yeah. The what is sort of the headliner, there's a section here that is Alcantara, then behind, of course, it's all glass.
Ivan, some call it a steering wheel. I hear you calling that a yoke.
Yes.
Explain.
That's the way Tesla markets it, so they want it called a yoke, and normally when it's square, it's called a yoke. Now, the interesting thing about this yoke is it has variable electric power steering, and by variable steering, meaning if you're going at parking lot speeds, you just turn it a little bit and it just whams the tires over to one side. But if you're going at high speed, it does a very good job of slowing the steering down. That way you're not, jerking around the road. So very interesting that it has variable rate power steering.
Anything interesting as you clean the yoke, Ivan?
Lots of buttons. It's a small yoke, but it has little dials and functions and has a little pictogram of the Cybertruck, obviously, but quite interesting technology going on in this yoke. And it's a lot of fun. In preparation for the ceramic coating, just making sure that every surface is cleaned. And again, very different textures and surfaces in this vehicle. One of them, old school word, is flocking. And the interior here is flocked. And if you ever want to drive a Tesla Cybertruck, you need the key, which is basically a credit card, and it just sits here. And when it's sitting here, the vehicle is activated. No key there, vehicle is disactivated. So once the driver's compartment area is done, I'm just gonna get up here, make sure this Alcantara piece is well receptive and ready for the ceramic coating. And interesting lights, you don't have to touch them, you just go by them and they turn off and on. Interesting. Lots of technology in this vehicle. One of the first vehicles, if not the first, with a 48 volt architecture. That means that all these accessories are 48 volts instead of 12 volts. What are you finding on the door panel, Nick?
Well, it feels like a Tesla door panel to me, nothing too exotic. I mean, I'm sure it's quite new, and what I'm trying to say is, Ivan, I'm just in the moment. I'm just trying to get it as clean as I can, but nothing here appears to be...
Nothing out of the ordinary.
No, I mean, I get in my zone when I'm cleaning, Ivan, but yeah.
Yeah, it's a nice, simple, basic design. Elegant is the term I'd like to use.
The best time to clean your interior and apply interior ceramic is when your vehicle's brand new.
Oh, definitely. When it's new, there's nothing, no secrets, nothing hiding.
Question, would you apply interior ceramic to rubber floor mats?
Yeah, definitely. It's a great way of protecting them, makes them much, much easier to clean, and doesn't affect the look or the feel. And of course the seats, they're perforated from top to bottom, great ventilation in the seats, and of course heating. So we want to protect that. Now the owner of this Tesla has children, and it's very obvious because the back of these seats, they have footprints on them. So the interior ceramic is probably the only part we're really going to have to clean, because the rest is relatively clean. We're just making sure that we're not leaving any dust untouched before putting the ceramic coating. But the back of these seats, it needs a bit more cleaning. Now Nick, what's your thought on Alcantara?
I like Alcantara. I think it's a little scary for some people to clean, but it looks nice. I mean, it's a fancy word for microfiber, and I think a lot of people wonder, how can I clean it safely and how can I protect it? And you can absolutely use interior ceramic on it, and I enjoy it when I come across it in vehicles.
Yeah, you can use interior clean and protect as well.
We'll get to that in a second, but yeah, that's our recommended maintenance product once you have applied interior ceramic.
Now one area that often gets neglected or missed is actually the headrests on vehicles. Our head sometimes can have a bit of oil on it, especially if you have a haircut like mine. So we want to make sure to get the headrest well cleaned before we put the interior ceramic. And luckily the little footprints on the back of the seat wiped right off without an issue. The ceramic coating, super easy to apply. First thing we do, brand new applicator, and I'm not spraying on the surface, I'm just spraying a little bit into the applicator, not a lot. Not full trigger pulls, just a little bit seeping out. Then we coat the surface. And don't stress out, it's not gonna stay shiny and black like this. And I'm priming my applicator on a large flat surface. It's just an easier thing to do. Like when we're coating an exterior of a car, we'll use a large flat surface like the hood. Here, we're using the dash. I'm going to let it cross-link a little bit and just make sure I've got this corner all the way here, because let's just say the corner is far. On this dash, once I have the surface evenly coated, just like on the outside, same deal happens with this ceramic coating. We take a dry microfiber towel, preferably a short nap, and just level the coating.
Ivan, as you ceramic coat this interior, what are the benefits of interior ceramic?
What are the benefits? There are many benefits actually. First and foremost, easier to clean in the future. Secondly, stain resistance. Now, nothing is stain proof, but it is stain resistant. And bad reflex. When you're doing an interior ceramic, always have long sleeves. The reason being, we prepped this. It's ready to apply the ceramic coating. If I do this, I might be putting body oils on there, I'll only need to prep it again. So, long sleeves are part of the fun. The other advantage of an interior ceramic coating is UV protection. Now in here, not so much of a concern, but if you have a convertible, then it becomes really important. The last aspect that is really important, there's a lot of things, but this one doesn't change the feel. It doesn't block the pores of the leather. It allows the leather to do its job. It allows the leather to breathe. It's actually our thinnest formula when it comes to the viscosity of the formula. So it's actually thinner than water, meaning that it gets into the pores, but it doesn't create a crust. And we don't want to create a crust, whether that be on vinyl, on plastic, on leather, on Alcantara. We just want it to be in the surface, not on the surface. It's really weird, but if you think of the pores as these big craters, we're not filling the crater, we're actually lining the walls of the crater. Now, one question I answer a lot, you answer a lot, is the infotainment screen. Do we coat the infotainment screen? Well, here's your answer. It's going to help make it oleophobic, which means less fingerprints. And of course, easier to clean in the future. The strategy for coating your interior is start from the middle and work your way out. Where you can reach, like the dash, start with that first, and then work your way out till you get to the door panels. Do the steering wheel, do the console, do the dash, then get out, do the seat surrounds, do the door, close the door, move on. The yoke on this, I would have expected this to be Alcantara of all things, but it is not. So it is a plastic, and Tesla's unfortunately, if you look at the Model S Plaid, a lot of people have issues with the Model S Plaid because the yoke is a slightly different shape, and they have issues with it delaminating where they keep their hands. Hopefully, this will help, maybe not stop it, but slow it down. And as you know, I'm used to driving a bus, so this is really small. In the bus, the steering wheel is this big, and this one is miniature. Very important to coat all sides of the steering wheel or the yoke, depending on how you want to look at it. Making sure you've got great coverage, because this is obviously the second most touched part of your vehicle, especially in a self-driving car. The seat is obviously the most touched, but you're not touching it with your hands. But the yoke or the steering wheel has your hands on it all the time. Even in a self-driving car, if you take your hands off for more than a couple seconds, it's telling you to, hey dude, put your hands back on the wheel. And this obviously is a self-driving vehicle. Now on the steering wheel, we have textured, we have solid plastics, we have shiny plastics, we have matte plastics, we have what looks like stainless steel, not sure that it is, but it's stainless steel looking trim. So just making sure to cover absolutely everything. Leveling it so we don't get high spots, and that little wheel that goes round and round, I'm turning it a quarter turn, coating it, turning it a quarter turn, coating it. That way the whole thing gets coated. Very important, because again, these are some of the primary controls of this vehicle. We want to make sure they're properly coated. Think of it as a trackball on your mouse. That's what they feel like. Now, one thing that's missing in this interior for the traditionalist is turn signal stalks. It doesn't have any. Instead, it has a left and right button on the yoke. So very interesting technology. It becomes intuitive to use, but someone who's never got in here, they're gonna start driving and go, oh, where'd it go? There's no turn signal stalks. Now, I've done the top part of the dash, and what I wanted to show you was it doesn't change the look in any way. So if we look here, from there to there, the dash is coated. From there over, it isn't. There's just a slight darkening, but you really have to be looking for it to see it. Now the fun part, the white. If you don't coat any other surface in your Tesla, coat the white vegan leather, please. It will save you heartache in the future. Past the white vegan leather, there's a stainless steel strip with really interesting LEDs in it. They can change the color, you can do all sorts of things with them. Don't know if they go to the beat of the music, but knowing the people at Tesla, probably does. And once your applicator is dampened, you can go pretty far without re-wetting your applicator. If your vehicle has a bit of a life experience and the Alcantara is matted, then use either a short nap microfiber like this or a very fine brush, and you can bring that back. Now you might have to do it a couple times to get that matting away from the Alcantara, but once you do, coat it with the ceramic coating. It's going to make it so much easier to maintain and clean in the future. And of course, the Alcantara, we have to soak our applicator just a little bit more. The sun visor in this vehicle is probably something that's going to get used a lot because of the height of the windshield and the angle of the windshield. So be sure to coat it properly.
How many sprays do you do on your applicator, Ivan?
3 or 4, and not full sprays. Basically it ends up being about 1 spray.
All right, so 10 was too much.
Quite, yeah. But you'll have fun wiping that off. Okay. Maybe start with the Alcantara, having it that wet. Oh yeah, it's wet. Nick is doing a Nick.
Do you expect anything less?
No, not at all. And keep your short sleeves off of the interior surfaces.
Oh yeah, for sure. I'm wiping back over onto your side. I hope that's okay.
That's good, and your leveling towel is going to be wet really soon.
Yeah, that's true. I just want to make sure I knock this down.
Yeah,
quickly.
And there we go.
Just because I had so much on my applicator.
Yeah, so Nick was doing full pulls of the trigger. Let's show you from the other side, it'll be a little easier. There we go. I do just little pulls. A couple of them. It doesn't equal 1 full pull what I'm doing.
Less really is more, everybody. I used to think more was better, and I'll tell you what, having learned from experience, it's not.
No.
Ivan's not, he's not crazy. He's actually pretty wise on that front. And the cool part about it is, like, you'd think we'd be telling you to use more products, right? Because we're selling this stuff, and you're just like, no, use less. Less is more. We're trying to help you out. Be efficient. Save product. Well, it actually works better when you use less.
Yeah. We want you to enjoy the process. And if you're fighting a product because you're using too much, you're not going to enjoy it. Whereas if you follow our instructions, we try to make it easy, simple, and cost-effective for you.
So why don't we let it sit for 30 seconds? Why do we wipe so quickly?
We can let it sit, but basically it soaks in very quickly.
Yep.
Especially on the Alcantara. Now on carpet, or if you have cloth seats, because there's still some vehicle out there with cloth seats. You can even buy a new car with cloth seats. You want to work it in with a brush, let it sit for a few minutes, like 15 minutes, and then put more on. And normally on a cloth seat or a carpet, I'll actually spray it on, spread it with a brush, and then from there, let it dwell, maybe 15 minutes, maybe a half hour if you want. Do a second application.
Do people always do headliners with interior ceramic, or is that more of a Alcantara thing?
It's both. Honestly, I wouldn't do a traditional headliner, but the way this headliner is set up, and the headliner stops right here. So this is just a strip that's above your head, and it is above your head. You could be coughing, sneezing, that happens, and it's just above your body. So it's a different material than a traditional headliner as well. It's Alcantara. A traditional headliner can be very dangerous to use any chemical on and any pressure. Here we're not applying pressure, we're just lightly going over it.
One thing worth noting is you do not want to coat your interior glass.
No.
Anything that promotes fogging, and of course water beads you think of with ceramic, anything that promotes fogging is a safety hazard. You don't want your windows fogging up on you.
So anything hydrophobic will promote fogging.
Absolutely.
So console is done, center screen is done. We have the 12 inches of headliner done, and the center console, like I said, the top is done, so we can move to the sides. I'll move out of the vehicle and start the seat.
Excellent.
On the seat, if you want to get wet and wild, yeah, you can spray it on, but that's probably not a good idea. In the seat, break it up into manageable sections. So I did the headrest, the one bolster, and you see my applicator starting to get a little dry. So I'll reapply to the applicator, watching the reaction on the seat. And of course, the perforated leather absorbs a lot more, or vegan leather, or whatever they're marketing it as these days. These are actually very comfortable seats too.
I agree.
Even the back seat.
Tesla gets ragged on for some of its interior and body gaps on the exterior, and this, that, and the other thing, right?
Right.
Say whatever you want about Tesla. These are very comfortable seats.
So wipe the seat down, the backrest, and then I'll go do the seating area. Now you want to stay off the seats for at least half an hour. If they're cloth seats, you might want to stay off just a little longer, an hour, just to make sure everything is dry.
Why is it so important to apply interior ceramic, especially on your seats?
You know, shiny leather is dirty leather. And a lot of people, over time, they don't really notice that the leather has gotten shiny. And that's from oils on our clothes, our body oils, all sorts of things. Protecting the leather, first of all, leather isn't cheap. On many vehicles, it's a rather expensive option or group package. But protecting the leather will give you more longevity with it, more comfort as well. Because when it gets oily and greasy, it gets sticky. Nobody likes a sticky seat, unless you're a race car driver and you don't want to be sliding around on the seat. But normally you should have a proper 5 or 6 point harness to take care of that for you.
Aren't you a safety inspector for NASCAR, Ivan?
Yes, I am. Tech inspector, but with a specialization in safety.
That sounds about right for you.
Yeah.
You enjoy it, right?
Exactly. I've always been in and around racing, so. Went to my first race when I was 6 months old. Been going ever since. Very important to coat the controls on the side of the seat as well, because those get handled frequently. And we often get asked, how long does the coating last? Well, on areas that you're not touching every day, like the seat backs, the top of the dash, things like that, it's going to last the lifetime of the vehicle. On areas where you have constant contact and you get friction from going in and out of the seat, driver's seat, yoke, steering wheel, touch screen, those are areas you'll want to touch up once a year. If you're doing 100,000 miles a year, you might want to do it twice a year. But I do on average about 50,000 miles a year, and people say I do a lot of mileage, so it's lasted easily a year on the seats of my bus. And yes, we do 50,000 miles a year in the bus.
This is such an easy process, Ivan. It's just about making sure you're getting your applicator everywhere.
Yep.
Wiping, just making sure that you got everything leveled. Super easy, something that anybody could do. You don't need any detailing experience for this.
No, basically you just have to have a keen eye of, have I been there or haven't I?
Yep, and that comes down to being meticulous. That has nothing to do with experience as a detailer.
No, and if you're planning on buying a new car, you've ordered the new car, you know it's coming in a couple weeks, get yourself a bottle of interior ceramic. You're gonna thank us later. Because when it's brand new, this is something that's simple to do. You don't have to clean anything. You just need to take the dust off of the surface, like we did with the Rinseless Wash. The Rinseless Wash by itself is a good cleaner too. And just make sure that you coat everywhere. Now there's a stainless steel applique inside the door. Not actually sure it's stainless steel in this case. It's not reacting like stainless steel. Or, unlike the exterior, they actually coated it. Very important when you're doing the doors to get down into the cup holders, because they tend to accumulate a lot of stuff. Speaker grill, you obviously want to coat that. That's normally something that harbors dirt very well. So making it easier to clean is a good thing. As I mentioned before, this back seat area normally has 2 child seats in it, and the back of the seat had a lot of little footprints on it, so we really want to protect the back of the driver's seat and the passenger seat. So always be cautious of that. If you see a child seat, don't neglect doing the back of the seat here. It's an area you definitely want to do. Nick, do your kids use the back of the seats as footrests?
Yeah, that's their favorite footrest.
I don't know what the attraction is. For myself as a grandparent, we never had our kids transfer the child seats into our vehicle. We took their vehicle anywhere we were taking the kids and just lent them ours instead. Made for a much easier transition. There was no seats going in and out, and they weren't getting our car dirty.
Ivan, God bless you. You are one of one, man. It's 11 o'clock at night. A man in his 50s on his knees cleaning a floor mat. Like, it doesn't, this is real life, man.
One of the last pieces we have to do on this Tesla Cybertruck is the floor mats. And the driver's one here, I've already done. The back seat one still needs a bit of work. I've cleaned it. Now it's time to apply the interior ceramic. And this is something that I'm gonna go a little liberal on. I'm gonna channel my inner Nick.
Wait, I can hear you, Ivan. All right, I'm coming into frame. I want to make sure this shot looked good for the people. We got to educate them.
Right.
Now the question is this going to make the mat slippery? We get this question a lot.
Right. It's not.
You want me to work this in?
Sure.
Put me to work.
Go right ahead.
Here, I'll work it in.
So it's not going to make the mat slippery in any way. What it is going to do, as you can see, it darkens it just a little bit, makes it a lot easier to clean, because cleaning these rubber floor mats is never fun, and it's going to make them keep that color for a longer time. So if you've ever had, especially the aftermarket floor mats, they perfectly fit to your vehicle, but then after a year or two, they look like they've been through a war. The rest of your interior looks great, but those mats, they're dingy. They're not the way they should be. So this is a way of keeping them clean.
I mean, we know that there's going to be lots of things spilled in the back seat, because I've had kids in car seats, and that's likely going to happen. Although, you never do know. But with the car seats and everything, this rear floor mat is going to need all the protection it can get.
Exactly.
I'm surprised you didn't spray a little more. I would have gone probably at least 20 more trigger pulls.
Yeah, no, we've had more than enough to spread everywhere.
We really have.
And we just level it with a towel. Once it's leveled with a towel, let it sit for a few minutes and put it back in.
Protected, and it really does look so much better.
Yeah, looks better. It's not going to be slippery in any way.
Ivan, just a minute ago we were inside a $100,000 plus truck, and now we're on the dirty garage floor. But we're doing it for the people.
Yeah, and I'm not on the floor.
Oh, you're not? You've got the fancy thing. All right, well then you're putting these back in. I'm not allowed back in with my dirty clothes.
There you go. So Nick, that completes the interior ceramic coating of the Cybertruck. If you have more questions about interior detailing, you might want to check this video out right here.